Hello everyone, welcome to the final game of Games on Fast Forward. This time we have Virtual QSO ending us off with Crash Team Racing Nitro Fuel. Take it away.
Alright, hello. I am Virtual QSO. I'll be running Crash Team Racing Nitro Field. I'll be running the any percent category, which will be the goal will be to complete the adventure mode. I believe, do we have a bid war set up for this run?
We did indeed, and Tana has won with $25.
Alright, then I will be racing as Tana. So let's select her. Let's see. And then the time will start when I press the ready button, which I will do in 3, 2, 1.
Alright.
Alright, so the adventure mode, it's a pretty straightforward adventure mode. I've just got to win all the races in the adventure mode and beat all the bosses. The story of this game is fairly simple. The alien nitrous oxide has come to challenge Earth to a racing trial by champion, and if he wins, he will turn Earth into a concrete parking lot. It's perhaps more interesting than the plot of the game is actually the story behind the game's development. Naughty Dog, this is a remake of a 1999, I believe, game. When Naughty Dog was making it, they were done. They wanted to be done with Crash Bandicoot and kill off the franchise, so they introduced nitrous oxide as an alien, thinking that an alien would be the death knell for the franchise. But ironically, Oxide was hugely popular, and so the franchise kept going under new direction. Alright, and what I've got going on here is the central mechanic to running this game, and particularly for speed runs, is the drift and power slide. By jumping into a turn, I'll start doing a drift, and then by pressing the other jump button, after a few seconds have passed, I will provide myself with a small boost. And the CPU just left a post in the middle of the road. They shouldn't litter. Anyway, the game also runs on a hidden reserve system, which is sort of an invisible meter. It fills up with every boost you get, no matter how big or what source it came from. And the reserve is basically how long you can maintain your boost without needing to apply a new one.
Coming at you full speed.
It's usually best just to constantly keep adding to it. And the other thing about the reserve is that it will, as long as you don't run out, you'll sustain the highest level boost that you received. Like, the regular boost from a power slide is weaker than the boost that you can get from a boost pad, but if you keep power sliding, the reserve system if you hit a boost pad, the reserve system will cause the power slide to sustain the boost pad boost rather than just go back to its own level.
Congratulations, you win a trophy.
And traditionally, hero characters are used for speedruns because Aku Aku's hints at the end of the races, as was just shown, they take less time before you can skip them than Uka Uka, the villain's mask, hints.
Watch out.
This course is fairly straightforward too, but there is a little exploits to give an extra speed boost on this course, but it is very RNG dependent, so although I have the TNT, so I can try to set it up. So what I will do is I will try to place the TNT at the bottom of a jump.
Whoops.
And then hopefully if I can land on it on the next lap by jumping, that can give me a little bit of an unintentional large speed boost. Only time that running it that I actually want to touch a TNT crate, although it's very likely that it's pretty likely that the CPU could just take the TNT and make that impossible anyway. Yep, like one of them hit TNT, so it didn't let me do it. I'm gonna cut off the side of the road here.
Better luck next.
Congratulations, you win a trophy. To get a turbo boost while power sliding,
On to the third race. Fortunately, this game does have a fair bit of loading times, but it was a lot worse when I was playing on the Switch 1.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Alright, for this track, we're going to... Right here, there is a little off-road section. Normally, on laps 2 and 3, I would be hopping through that to not have my speed lost because of the off-road terrain. But on the first lap, I don't have enough reserves to sustain myself all the way through that, so I just continue to power slide through it. And then we've got these fireballs. They are on a global cycle, so I can just go through them at the same pattern every time, and as long as nothing like mess with me like a stray item, it's pretty consistent. The turtles I avoid because they provide a bounce, but they do that by converting some of my forward momentum into vertical momentum, so basically there's a slight speed loss.
Whoops.
TNTs are probably the least bad items to run into, but they can still cause me to deplete my reserve, so any item is really not good to run into, except for on the last tracks. On the last track was the exploit that involved the TNT. And that chicken does not have any collision, so it does not matter if I drive right into it. It only shows up on the... It shows up for the first person to make it to the third lap. Uh-oh, I think... Okay. For a moment I thought I messed up my cycles there, but I did not, so that's good.
Better
Alright.
luck next.
Congratulations, you win a trophy. When you get a TNT crate on your head,
Okay, now we want to not get too close to that gate because if we do, that'll prompt a tutorial pop-up. While we can skip it once it starts, the time it takes from it to start to the point where we can skip it is time that we don't need to lose. This is a speedrun after all. The worst case scenario, it can only happen once, so if I do run it, get too close to it, it will remove the risk of that happening for any potential later gates.
Watch out.
Sometimes the game just lags out at the start of races, it just does that, but fortunately it doesn't really, it doesn't like actually make things take, doesn't like actually stop anything or change the timings. This shortcut here can be a little bit fickle, but I find that it's a little bit more reliable if I pull back or down depending on how you look at it on the left analog stick when I take it. Okay, so the oil drums or the barrels in this track, they are also on a global cycle. They are pretty large, so if you don't come up with them with good timing, they could easily get you before you clear them completely. Fortunately, the RNG has blessed me with the seal power-up, so if one of them looks like it's about to get too close to me, I can just negate it entirely with this. Like that.
Try.
I'm going to save this for after I cross the finish line, so that I don't have to worry about risking running into it at the end of the next lap.
Whoops.
I always have to watch out for when I'm lapping the CPUs because they could possibly drop an item right as I'm getting right behind them. Alright, thanks to the shield, that was a very clean run of that track. Alright, up next we've got the first boss race. The mechanics of boss races are slightly different from the regular races. Once we get to the first set of item crates, the bosses start dropping an unlimited supply of a specific item depending on which boss it is. In this case, the first boss, his item of choice is the red TNT crates. Seriously, the boss, even from a casual standpoint, I find it kind of odd that the bosses only ever attack behind them and they don't have any options for them to do once you get in front of them. Like, even from a casual standpoint, that's kind of like, once you get in front of them, then they can't do anything to you, so it's kind of just a bit weak, if you ask me. I'm going to see if because he drops TNT crates, I'm going to see if I can pull off the landing on the TNT crate to get the extra boost on the third lap.
Whoops.
We didn't place the TNT crate where it needed to be for me to get the boost on that jump, so maybe this jump. Nope, not where I needed it to be, unfortunately. quite think that turned
Better luck
as
next
tight as I
time.
could have because I was trying to avoid the TNT, but that's fine. Oh. Started turning a little bit too early there. That giant green screen is another element to avoid because of it prompting a tutorial. For this zone, I always choose this. There are two tracks that are open at the start of this zone, and I always go for this track first because going to the other track because it's further away from the podium that I'll be placed on after each track. So if I go to the other track if I went to the other track first, I would have to drive all the way from the podium over to here, where by choosing this track, I can just drive the short distance between the podium and that other track.
Watch out.
This track has a level of RNG. There's a shortcut that can only be accessed with specific power-ups, and the TNT crate that I just got was not one of them that lets me access it. So I will be making sure to I will be trying to drop any power-up that does not let me in the shortcut, and I will be holding on to any power-up that does let me get into the shortcut. Like the potion let me get into it right there. So this potion will let me get into it on the second lap. Going to cut across the grass there. I always have to be careful because I have a bad habit of overestimating my reserve supply and running out of it in the middle of that grass, so.
Whoops.
I will have to this Nitro crate. Ah. Unfortunately, the fire has a deceptively large hitbox.
Little something for you.
Okay, fortunately this potion will let me get into the shortcut on the third lap.
Whoops.
Okay, that was a bit rough with the flames, but not too bad, especially considering I got the shortcut on all 3 laps.
Congratulations, you win a trophy. The more Wumpa fruit you collect, the faster.
Okay. This next track is about, even though it's about a third of the way into the game, it's easier than all of the earlier tracks. It's the easiest track in the game.
See you at the finish line.
The wall collision there is a little bit funny. If I approach it correctly, I can just parkour up it for no good reason.
Coming at you full speed.
And runs of this game, all 3 difficulty settings are under the same category. probably because theoretically it's possible to go just as fast on hard as it is on easy. So runs are typically done on easy because even though all three difficulties you can go just as fast, the RNG is much more nicer on easy. On the higher difficulties, the CPU gets more items and places them more aggressively. And on hard, the CPU gets certain items that just cannot be avoided normally. Specifically, the Warp Orb, which is this game's equivalent of the Blue Shell, and the Clock, which is sort of the counterpart to the Lightning Bolt from Mario Kart. Neither of them can be avoided unless you have a shield power-up of some sort of your own. But the CPU only gets those on hard, so by playing on easy, we completely prevent that from being a problem. The CPU also gets a flat speed increase for each difficulty step, but compared to a speedrunning player, that's still not enough for them to actually have a chance of winning a race.
Congratulations, you win a trophy. To get around a tight turn or to
Coming at you full speed. See you at the finish line.
Alright. I find this course to be probably the hardest in terms of theoretical perfect run of it compared to how easy it is to mess up, at least for the purpose of a speed run, even though this is still not even halfway through the game. The main reason being the narrow corridor with all the right turns. Because the reserve system, you lose your reserve if you stop or hit the brakes, or if you don't use enough boost, or if you brush up against any of the walls. Except for sometimes if you make just the briefest graze of a wall, sometimes you won't lose your reserves, but anything more than the briefest touch will deplete your reserve. And so it's very difficult to get through there without losing your reserve, and also to not miss the boost pad at the end, because on the optimal path, that is the only boost pad that we pass on this track. Although fortunately I had the boost power-up item right there, so I could use it in combination with the boost pad to fill up my reserve and be able to carry the boost pad through.
Whoops. Better luck next.
Congratulations, you win a trophy. You can get a hang time turbo from jumping.
Ah! I got a little bit too close to the boss gate and prompted one of the tutorial pop-ups. Well, at the very least, that means it can't happen at any of the later boss gates. Of course, of course, as a speed run, we want to save as much time as we can by cutting all corners as close to as possible. But when the actual boundary is invisible, it's difficult. It's easy to just get a little bit too close to the corner that we're trying to cut as close as possible. The Wampa fruit on the course are like Mario Kart's coins. They're ostensibly supposed to increase your speed for each one that you pick it up. But I have not, in my testing, I have not been able to see any difference between speed with or without Wampa fruit. So I'm thinking that if they do have an effect on speed, it's only applicable if you're not boosting. I tried to beat the armadillo, but I couldn't. But they do still give you, but having 10 of them still does upgrade your power-up, and some of the upgraded power-ups are quite useful, like the shield. When the shield is upgraded and blue, it does not wear off over time. When it is green, it will wear off after a little bit, even if nothing hits it. Not my best performance on Dingo Canyon. Alright, we're up to the second boss now. The bosses, except for the first boss, have a tendency to go to their hardest tracks, at least in their respective worlds, at least in my opinion.
See you at the finish line.
And his item are the potions like I just got. He can throw both the basic green ones and the upgraded red ones. Definitely, like, it's always for the best to steer clear of the knockoff piranha plants, but specifically, if they're not recoiled and prepared to strike, you can drive in front of them if they're in a relaxed pose, but it's still best just to stay clear of them entirely.
Little something for you.
And I managed to clear the corridors and grab the boost, so that's good. I can sustain some extra speed here. Gotta be really careful because it's really hard to see those potions when going at this speed. But this shield will help me with that. Fortunately and conveniently for us, he does not drop any potions in this little hallway area. And that was a really good run of that track, especially on the third lap, carrying the boost all the way through the corridors. Now we're made it to the back half of the game.
Watch out.
In terms of layout, this is the last simple course that we'll see. You can see on the map on the right. But we've got some pretty tricky shortcuts in this track that can be pretty impactful to the run. There's that ramp up there, and then there's this fence jump right there. We have to approach it at just the right angle so that we can clear it. If we approach it without enough of a slope, then we will not be able to clear the fence because we need the slope to give us a little bit of extra lift when we jump. Uh-oh, I seem to have ran out of reserve. My reserves seem to be not staying right now for some reason. Because we also need the extra speed from the boost in order to be able to clear that fence. I'm going to try to really focus to make sure that I keep those reserves for this last lap. Okay. Alright, well, that last lap was better than the second lap. I'm not entirely sure why my reserves weren't holding up on the second lap. And starting from here, we have no more hints that will pop up at the end of each race, so we don't. That's one less thing that we have to skip.
Watch out.
Okay, so what we've got here on this track is a minecart tunnel that we're going to be trying to squeeze through. Gotta be a little bit careful though, because the timing of the minecart, if our timing is off, the minecart can come up from behind us like that. The minecarts are on a global cycle. Theoretically, if everything goes perfectly, I can get through the minecart tunnel on all 3 laps without being run over by them. But of course, even though there's no RNG to them, there is still human variance. Like, that is how it's supposed to be taken. What it's like when the shortcut is taken cleanly. Alright, that was pretty good.
Congratulations, you win a trophy.
Next up, we're gonna go up against one of the. We're gonna start entering. This will be, in my opinion, a particularly fun track.
Watch out.
Got a nice little shortcut we can take up ahead. We're gonna cut around that jump right there. But I've got an even better shortcut to take on the next lap. So this track introduces the blue flame. The blue flame is even faster than the regular boost panel flame, but of course it's also harder to steer, and the reserves run out even quicker, so I've got to be really on point with it. But using it, I can take that jump much wider. Or much sharper, I guess. No. Okay, I'm not entirely sure what's going on with my acceleration and deceleration there. The physics are being a little bit weird. Like, I lost my speed when I touched the wall, but then I just like instantly got it back somehow. Of course, you gotta watch out for the seals.
Oh yeah.
Gotta be careful I don't overturn when I'm maintaining my power slide on the straightaways.
Better luck next time.
You can see just how much of a difference the blue flame makes. It's like by carrying it the whole way through. I saved like 10 seconds on lap 3 compared to lap 2.
Congratulations, you win a trophy.
Coming at you full speed.
Then we've got this next track is very long and windy, but honestly, like, kind of not much going on. That's actually interesting going on.
Watch out.
One thing I am trying to do though is like trying to power slide over the ramps rather than take the jumps for the boost, just so that I can like maintain forward momentum and not transfer that too much to vertical momentum. I'll just put on the shield just in case. Shouldn't need it in a track as wide open as this one, but you never know when the CPU can put something at a particularly mean spot. And I can't use other power-ups while I have my shield up. If I press the power button with my shield up, I will throw my shield, and it's obviously just better just to keep the shield on rather than get rid of it to use any of the other power-ups.
Did you even try?
Alright, that was pretty good.
Better luck next.
3 minutes, 14 seconds. Alright, we're up against the third boss now. So this boss attacks with both TNT and Nitro crates. So that gives me quite a bit to avoid once I start getting to the point where I'm approaching lapping him, and the items that he leaves behind will not have had a chance to be cleaned up. Okay, that was really close. I nearly got run over. Just managed to get off of the mine track at the last moment before I got ran over there. Oh, looks like something hit him. Saw his icon turn red for a brief moment, or flash red. Unfortunately, sometimes the timing just does not line up for me taking that shortcut and not getting hit by a minecart. Sometimes they are on the track at just the wrong time. They're on the part of the mine track that's right at the entrance of the tunnel, right when I'm entering the tunnel.
Coming at you full speed.
One thing to be careful of is the boss's items. Unlike regular items, the boss's items have a time limit before they blow up. And if I'm too close to the nitro crates right when their timer expires, I will be caught in the explosion even if I didn't actually touch the crate. Unlike the regular racers, who if you place an item at the beginning of the race, it'll be there all the way through to the end of the race. There's just that little unavoidable load time there that we can't really do anything about because of how the game is programmed to handle the loading. From here on out, all of the courses will have the blue flame, so we'll pick up the pace a little bit for the end, for the last stretch. And this course is, in my opinion, the easiest of the hardest tracks. It's kind of the last little respite before we go before we go to the final
Watch out.
hard stretch. It's also the easiest course to maintain the blue flame all the way through for. It's still got fairly wide and easy to handle turns. And the only obstacles here give plenty of space to easily go around. Oh, try to take that turn a little bit too tight. That's on me, I got greedy. Okay, now that I've got the blue shield, I will put that on just in case. Because, of course, if the CPU dropped anything in this tunnel, that would be a pain to dodge. It would have been disappointing if I ran into one of the CPU while cutting that jump there, and just lost my shield for no reason. But yeah, in the earliest version of the game, you could actually just cut the corner where the track double loops over itself and just go straight to the end. But that was patched out pretty quickly. Alright.
Better luck now.
Congratulations, you win a trophy.
Alright, this next track has its fair share of spiders, so anyone with arachnophobia may want to look away.
See you at the finish line.
As a castle level with lots of 90-degree turns, this level was clearly designed to be answer to Bowser's Castle from Mario Kart. There's a lot of ways that this game takes after Mario Kart and tries to try to rival it. I can use the boost power up even though Even though the boost power-up does not compound on or add any extra speed when I've already got a high-level boost, it still supplements my reserves. So it's good. So it's good to use. Unfortunately, that spider dropped down right at the worst possible time for me. I've been too close to the wall there. Tried to avoid the opponent, and I got to, and I ended up going into the wall. Spiders are also on a global cycle, so I can anticipate. So I could anticipate when they're about to lift up or lower, and potentially either slip under them or make sure to avoid them. Theoretically. Anyway, that's the end of that track. So anyone who chose to look away can look back now.
Congratulations, you win a trophy.
Coming at you full speed. Nice. See you at the finish line.
We've got
Oh yeah.
this track that's up in the clouds. We've got
Coming at you.
very
full
twisty,
speed.
and there's a lot of places where there's no barriers, so it's easy to fall off. So I can take that turn extra sharp by doing what is called a U-turn. By holding back and the direction on the left analog stick and hopping, I can also press down the brake button to turn extra sharp, even when I'm touching the ground. Which normally pressing the brake button while on the ground would instantly eliminate my reserves, but by doing a U-turn, I can maintain my speed and still take extra sharp turns.
Coming at you full speed.
I don't especially like that they decided to add clouds right on that corner. That there's no reason to like, because it's still a good corner to cut, and the clouds don't really. The clouds weren't there in the original version, so I don't know why they felt the need to make it a little bit more nerve-wracking to cut that corner in this version.
Oh yeah.
Rude place for a potion. Hiding it behind the power-up boxes. And now I didn't have enough speed to clear the wall. Alright, that's fine.
Better luck next.
Congratulations, you win a trophy.
And we're coming up on the last normal track of the run. Sometimes it just does that and makes me miss the starting boost, but because the boost panel is right there, it makes almost no difference on this track. In a way, between all the twists and turns of this course and the fact that it's in a space station, you could consider this track to be an answer to Mario Kart's Rainbow Road. Although there's much more borders to prevent you from falling off than on some versions of Rainbow Road. Even if I can't drift and power slide safely, I can still supplement my reserves by making sure I run over the boost pads. Ah, darn it, I got caught by the jutting out column there. Well, at least I had that power up so that I could use that to pick up my speed somewhat, even if it's not a blue flame. I'll wait till I get past the finish line and drop that so I don't risk running into it at the end of the last lap. Okay. Ah, I did it again. Oh dear. Now that was a really mean place for a Nitro crate. And I know it's not mine because I placed a Nitro crate over here. That would come in handy earlier. Okay, well,
Better luck next.
next up we just got the last two bosses. Ah, perfect. So what I just did there was I started my acceleration at just the right time before the cutscene started, So I managed to enter the gate to the boss track before the cutscene even started, and by doing so, I skipped the cutscene even starting.
Watch out.
As far as I know, it can be done on each of the first 4 boss tracks, against each of the first 4 bosses, but I've only ever been able to pull it off against the 4th boss. And this boss's items of choice are the bombs, which make him even less disruptive than any of the previous bosses, because the bombs don't linger on the track at all. So the only time that his bombs will even show up at all, or when I get close, will be when I get close to lapping him. And it'd be entirely possible for me to clear that without, and then just make that not even a problem at all. The final boss, I cannot skip the cutscene that leads into, because after winning this race, I will be dropped off a bit further away from the entrance to the final boss's challenge. So I cannot just drive up and enter the boss level before his cutscene starts. Of course, if I run into anything other than a bomb on this track, it'll be my own fault. It will have been my own item. And here are the bombs, so I gotta be careful here. And I lapped him without getting hit by any of his bombs. Alright, this was a good run for this track.
Better luck next time.
So,
And now we're on to the final boss. You can see this ramp is just too far for me to get into before the cutscene fully starts. And yep, he's a cheater. It doesn't matter, it's not going to help him. Ooh, this could come in handy. See anything left on the track, we could use this to smash it. Time is going to be when I cross the finish line on the 3rd lap. I could probably just get rid of this though and go for a shield though, because once I'm going at full speed, it's not like I'm going to be able to throw this and hit and break anything that he leaves on the track fast enough. Not like I'm going to be able to react fast enough.
Coming at you full speed.
Okay, well that time I did not get caught by the... Okay, that was close. I nearly lost my bumped up against the wall there and lost my boost. For some reason, the boost turns orange, even if you have the blue flame on that jump, but it's just a visual glitch. You still keep your blue flame. Doesn't actually override it. Alright. On to the final lap. He's gonna start running into the items that he leaves behind soon, which are particularly disruptive.
Coming at you full speed.
Yeah, these red potions are quite disruptive if I run into them, and he really litters the track with them 2 at a time. Unfortunately, the rain cloud puts a cap on my max speed, so they're just going to be a pretty big hit to my speed, but they are really hard to avoid without having a good power up. Anyway, this is time.
Time.
Better luck next time.
GG. That was a 107.20 in RTA.
Ah, that was very good.
Ah! I can't believe you beat me. I never lose. How embarrassing. I'll be the laughingstock of all gas mucks here. Fine. Your miserable planet stays gushy and green. At least you still haven't gathered all my time relics. Until you've collected all of those and raced me again, you'll never be able to claim you are the fastest. This won't be the last time you'll face nitrous oxide. We will meet again.
Alright.
And that comes
So, I'd like to... So, I'd like to thank Games on Fast Forward for having me. I'd like to give a shout out to all my friends and family who have been supporting my speed runs.
Is that it? Anyone else you want to show?
Yeah, I've got no. I think I've got everyone I think everyone I know is covered up by that.
Rightio. Alright, then we'll be right back in the ending ceremony. I'll say all my personal thanks and celebrations over there. And see you there.